Hey guys, what's up? It's Pete Thorn. Thanks for joining me. And today we're going to take a really close look at an awesome new piece of guitar equipment from the guys at 2 Notes. It's the Torpedo Reload. So I've made a lot of these demo videos, and I have to admit, with this one I was a little stumped. I was thinking about how am I going to accurately demonstrate all the things that this thing does, because it does so much stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is break down all the different uses for the Torpedo Reload. So first off, the Torpedo Reload is a fantastic power attenuator for tube guitar amps. It's rated up to 150 watts, so any tube amp up to that rating you can plug into the Torpedo Reload. And using a reactive load technology and a reamplification type technique, you can now play your tube amp at any volume you see fit. So, I mean, anything from whisper quiet all the way up to a good, comfortable stage volume. You just use the speaker control right here to set the overall volume level. So if you've got a 100-watt amp that was just way too loud to be using at home or in a club, that is now an issue of the past. You can use your amp at any volume you want. So the second thing that the Torpedo Reload is designed to be is a multi-impedance reactive load box. Okay, so you can take your tube amp and be it 4 ohm output, 8 ohm, 16 ohm, doesn't matter. You can safely load down your tube amp down to line level, take that line level out, run it into your recording interface, and then within a digital audio workstation like Logic or Pro Tools, you can then pull up a track and insert a plug-in where you can add some speaker simulation, that sort of thing. The Torpedo Reload actually comes with a killer plug-in called the Wall of Sound 3 from 2 Notes, and you can do everything from cabinet simulation to microphone modeling to extensive EQing and craft a guitar sound that way. So it's very cool. And this also means that at 2 in the morning in your apartment you could be using your 100-watt tube amp cranked all the way up and through headphones, you know, completely silently, not bothering anybody, just crafting some killer awesome guitar tones and parts. So the third thing that the Torpedo Reload is designed to do exceptionally well is be a DI and guitar reamping box. Okay, so you can plug your guitar into the instrument input on the front, take the XLR output on the back, run that out to your microphone preamp and recording interface, and then within your digital audio workstation you can capture a full frequency DI guitar track. Okay? Then later on you can take that DI guitar track, run it back out through the Torpedo Reload, through that into a guitar amp, and of course a speaker cabinet and microphones, or possibly a plug-in like the Wall of Sound 3 or something like that, and you can just completely craft guitar tones after the fact, after you've actually already recorded the part. That's reamping. Okay, so in the song at the beginning of the video, what I did was exactly that. I ran my guitar into the DI input, captured the DI guitar tracks within Logic, and the guitar tones that you heard on the song were actually plugins. Okay, so I was using the Waves guitar plugin, which is a pretty good sounding guitar modeling plugin. What I want to do now is actually take those pristine DI guitar tracks, disable the plugins, run those tracks out back through guitar amps and my speaker cabinet and microphones in my live room, and I'm going to recapture those guitar tones and just try and make them sound a whole lot cooler. So let's do that now. Okay guys, so I'm all set up now to reamp a guitar track using Torpedo Reload. It's real easy and I'm going to show you how it works. I've got one of those original DI guitar tracks I recorded, all queued up in Logic. The output of that track is feeding an output on my recording interface. That goes over to the Torpedo Reload and feeds the replay input on the back. Okay? The replay output is then patched into the front end of my guitar amp, which is a Shure SL68, and this is what I'm going to use to reamp this guitar track. The speaker output on the SL68 is then feeding the speaker in on the Torpedo Reload, and then it's getting safely loaded down by that terrific reactive load in Torpedo Reload. Okay, then it's getting reamped by the Torpedo Reload unit and sent out the speaker out, and that runs out to my speaker cabinet in my live room, and the sound is getting captured by 2 microphones out there. I'm just going to play you really quickly here the sound of the DI track running through the Reload and out through the guitar amp getting captured by the mics. Sounds like this. Okay, sounds great. I'm stoked with that already. I should mention that one of the coolest things about the Torpedo Reload unit is this match feature. Now what that is it allows you to match the level coming off your interface with the level coming out of your guitar. Now why would you want to do that? Well, you know, you want the sound to be just like your guitar is plugged right into the amp. You don't want the sound coming off your interface to be nailing the front end of the amp way harder than the signal would be coming out of your guitar normally. And you don't want it to be wimpy and not loud enough. So the way that this works is there's a series of lights on the front of the unit right here. And when I play the guitar track in a second here again, I'm just going to jam along with it. My guitar is plugged into the front of the Reload. And these lights are going to tell me if the signal is about the right level coming out of my guitar, you know, about the same as the level that's coming off the interface. And I can balance that signal very easily using this replay knob right here on the front of the unit. Okay, so I'm just going to jam along for a second here and balance out that level. Okay, so there's two amber lights on the front of the unit. One represents my guitar level, one represents the level coming off the interface. There's a green light in the middle. What you want is for that green light to be lit most of the time, and the amber one is just to flicker on the outside. What I noticed is the amber one that represents my guitar level was flickering more. So that means my guitar signal is a bit louder than what's coming off the interface. So using it's called the replay knob. I'm going to turn it up a little bit, and that's going to give me a little bit more level coming out of the interface and running out to the front of the amp. And then we'll just check it out one more time. Okay, now it looks like that green light's on almost all the time, and the amber ones are just barely flickering. So that's a really terrific feature because, you know, as I say, you want the signal running into the front end of the amp to be approximately the same as what would be coming out of your guitar, not too low or too high. So one of the coolest things, of course, about reamping is that you get to kind of really hone in on the tone after the fact, and you know, from everything from the amplifier to the cabinet to miking to tweaking the amp and whatnot, you can just really dial in the sound. It's just super cool. So I'm just going to kind of experiment with the tone here as the track is playing and tweak the amp. Try tweaking the sound a little bit while the bass and drums are playing too. So I don't have a lot of time in this video to get into the wall of sound plug-in, but I wanted to show you what one of my guitar tracks, one of the other Rhythm DI guitar tracks, sounds like getting reamped through one of my PT100 amps, okay, and then through the wall of sound plug-in, and that's what I'm using for speaker cabinet modeling and microphone modeling on this particular track. So to reamp the lead guitar part on the song, I decided to use my Comet Concord head, killer 50-watt head, and I wanted to get a little bit of, I don't know, je ne sais quoi going. So I decided I would use this Moog analog delay, which is awesome. You get a little bit of slap going, and it just sounds awesome. So here's the sound of the lead guitar with the Moog pedal and the Comet amp. Okay, so just to wrap up the reamping portion of this video, I've got all my guitar parts reamped now through the Comet and the SL68 and the PT100, all running out through my cab in my live room through nice mics. I got a nice mix going, so I want to play the mix of the reamped guitars now. And then I'm going to play a little bit of the original mix, which featured the guitars where I was using a guitar amp modeling plugin for the sounds. And hopefully I've got a little bit more life going in the tracks. You know, I think the original mix sounded pretty good, but I think the new one's got a lot more life in it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I've got the speaker out on my SL68 patched into the Torpedo Reload now, and the speaker output on Torpedo Reload is patched into my cabinet in my live room. And so I'm effectively loading down the amp and then re-amplifying with the Torpedo Reload. And what you're going to hear is that the tone stays nice and full. It's not compressed or dull or anything like that, but it's a little bit quieter because I've got Torpedo Reload set to be attenuating a little bit. So I'm going to play my riff again, and then I'm going to turn down the speaker control on Torpedo Reload, and you'll hear that I can take it all the way down to a really low volume. Okay, so let's bring the speaker control down now. I'm going to bring it down to about 1 o'clock. And we'll go way down now. Okay, let's check out the contour control. So this control is really helpful for helping you deal with how our ears hear things differently at different volume levels. You know, if you drop your guitar sound down to a much lower volume level, it's scientifically proven that our ears hear things different at different volume levels, and you get things like the Fletcher-Munson effect. So, you know, if you feel like your tone's a little thinner at a lower volume or maybe needs more mids, this control is really helpful. When it's in its center position, that's when it's out of the circuit and things are just supposed to be neutral. When you sweep it over to the left, you're going to hear an increase in mids and kind of fullness and body. You sweep it over to the right, and you get almost like a loudness effect on a stereo where you'll get more lows and highs. Okay, so I'll just play a chord and sweep the control. You'll hear what it does. Okay, so I went from about 9 o'clock over to about 3 o'clock and then ended up right back in the middle. So a little bit goes a long way. I think you can kind of sweep it between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock and find the right balance of tone in there somewhere. Thanks for watching my video on the Torpedo Reload from 2 Notes. I'm sure many guitarists will find this a very valuable tool for both the stage and the studio. Alright, I'm Pete Thorn. See you next time.